A wash, clay,
and seal. Hi, I'm Ivan.
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail. Today we're going to do sort of a wash and talk, but we're going to add in decontamination and sealing while we're at it.
We're also gonna make a video washing Rinseless with a brush.
Right. People freak out about a brush, and we've had this wheel and body brush since the beginning. Many people have actually used it to clean their car. It's safe, it's simple, it's easy. We have our perfectly safe brush. If you're not ready to go there, but you have one of these, give it a try. You might be surprised.
Sometimes it's just really fun to wash a car with a brush, and
Yeah.
we're gonna show you how to do so safely. So if you don't believe us, write down in the comments below you don't believe us, and then let's see where this goes.
First thing, we need to get Rinseless wash on the surface. We have our little sprayers here. Mine's battery operated. Nick is younger than I am, so he pumped his up.
The reality is you don't need a fancy sprayer to do the wash, to do the clay, to do the seal.
No.
The whole idea here is you want to get Rinseless wash on the surface. However you do that, I happen to have a pretty fancy detail keg at home. But I also know you could put a 16-ounce bottle in your Rinseless wash bucket and literally trigger spray this on the whole vehicle. That's all you're doing is getting it on the surface. What say you, Ivan?
Exactly. And letting it emulsify, letting it dwell, letting it do the work for us.
What work is it doing?
So the Rinseless wash is grabbing the dirt, it's lifting it off the surface, and it's emulsifying it, breaking it down into smaller and smaller particles, making it easy for us to wash it. Now, this vehicle, admittedly, was just dusty. And if you maintain your car on a weekly basis, it's easy, it's quick to wash your car, and you don't need to go through hundreds of steps. You can do this easily at home, very simply, without the need for a hose.
I was gonna say the hose conversation. The person at home, they never know. Do I do a hose wash? Can I get away with a no hose Rinseless? Like, how do you know for sure?
If you're asking the question, do I need a hose? The answer is probably yes. But give it a try. You'd be surprised just how far you can go without a hose.
I added a lot of Rinseless wash to the surface thinking, well, we're using the brushes. This may not be safe. I better add more Rinseless.
Yeah, the brush is extremely safe here.
What's your technique with the wheel and body brush?
Get it everywhere.
Are you putting pressure on the brush?
No pressure whatsoever, like you wouldn't put pressure on any wash media, Nick.
How often are you redunking?
After every panel.
How big's a panel?
However you want it to be, Nick.
Right, because half the hood could be a panel,
Yeah,
or
half
just
the-
the front fender's a panel. It's like, how I want to be safe, Ivan. I want to give them the best standard procedure out there.
Unfortunately, we can't be there to show you common sense. So more dunking is a better option.
You're not gonna tell someone they did it wrong if they're erring on the side of caution?
Never.
Because sometimes common sense can be learned as well. Like
Yes.
they hear that from Ivan, they're like, okay, I can dunk more often and I'll be safe, right? That'll work for some people. That also might have people taking a little too long to wash their cars. I know what that's like. You like to avoid unnecessary steps, Ivan.
Yes.
So what's necessary, what's unnecessary in the Rinseless wash process?
What's necessary is to pre-soak. What's necessary is to work with a clean wash media.
Washing it 3 times?
Not necessary.
Washing it with only the legacy sponge if it's Rinseless.
No, you can use the perfectly safe brush. You can use the wheel and body brush. You can use our wash mitt. It's up to you.
Why do we have a legacy sponge for Rinseless washing if you can use anything?
Because it's the most efficient way of Rinseless washing.
Ivan, it's the real world. I'm feeling great about this process. I'm more than halfway done. And I see this big chunk on the roof. Do I A, try to flood it with the sprayer to get it off to a place where I could just wipes it off?
Yeah.
We're good?
And then you dunk.
And it's that easy.
Yeah, it's that easy.
All right. Well, it's kind of sounding scratchy up here, Ivan. I think decontamination is on the menu for a good reason.
Yes, it is.
Would you just decontaminate on a Tuesday, or would there be a reason you would also use the decon towel in addition to the wash?
You can decontaminate any day of the week, Nick. It's not necessary to do it on a Tuesday.
Would it have to be a really special time to decontaminate, or could I just do this every wash?
Every wash might be overkill, but definitely you can decontaminate when you feel the need. Now the nice thing about the wheel and body brush, it really gets in everywhere nicely.
It really does. Is there a compelling reason to use this brush on certain vehicles? Like, I actually happen to really like washing my Jeep Wrangler at home with this.
Yeah.
Because there's so many nooks and crannies. I really enjoy using a brush on that. Do you like using the wheel and body brush on certain kind of cars just for fun?
Yeah, it's the more nooks and crannies you have, the better this brush is.
So give me examples of cars that it would work really well on and cars that maybe not as much.
Well, like your Jeep, great example. My BMW Z3, there's not really any nooks and crannies there.
Yeah.
So there's no need for it. This vehicle is sort of an in-between. There are a lot of seams and body lines to deal with, so. So now we've washed the whole vehicle, at least on this side. Nick's almost done as well. Let's do the clay and seal part of it. For that, I'm gonna use our Envy ceramic detail spray and our perforated synthetic decontamination quad fold towel, AKA the quad fold decon towel. One spray on the towel, one spray on the panel. Where I sprayed is where I deposit the towel, and look at that immediate reaction. I've gone from flooding to beading. And no need to rinse. It is a rinseless wash.
I haven't explained exactly what you're doing.
So I'm lightly going over the surface, no pressure on the towel, and I'm distributing the Envy while plucking away the contamination from the surface. This can be a very precision operation, meaning that we could have washed the hood and sealed it immediately and dried it and be done with it. Now in this case, this vehicle needs a lot of protection, so I'm actually going to add a little more.
So you just did an extra spray on the paint?
Yeah.
And then I flip my side for that new. Do I not need to flip the side again?
It's up to you.
Okay, I'm always gonna err on the side of using two different sides on a panel if it's really bad and I'm worried about, even though I know it's not doing it, I'm just the person out there. You may be like that too, where you just wanna be extra cautious at all times. So scientifically, what's actually happening under this towel? What would I need to, would I not wanna switch more often versus just one side of panel?
If you feel it, switch it.
Okay. So you're granting us permission to be in our present moment and make a decision based on common sense again.
Every vehicle is different. Every vehicle has different needs. Every paint is different.
Ivan, there's a lot of people who take what you say as detailing gospel, so I just want to clarify the message for them out there. With the wash, clay, and seal, what are we overthinking and what is appropriate to be concerned about?
Overthinking is, I'm scraping the contamination into the paint. No, you're not. The towel is plucking it off. Now, if your vehicle is very dirty, this one as an example, had it been been off-roading and muddy, at that point, we would have rinsed it. But this just had a bit of dust on it. Not a big deal. And if you're really not sure, you can actually wash the car, rinse it, add a little more rinseless to the surface, and start doing this. Now you'll notice we're going down the side of the vehicle. Normally when I'm doing this, I'm outside, so I'll do a couple panels. Before they start air drying, I'll dry them off. In this case, in the shop, it's a little humid today. You can see how wet the floor is. Therefore, I'm not really concerned about it drying off, so I can go a little further down the side of the vehicle.
It's so nice when your car is ceramic coated and you can just wash your car like this whenever you want.
Yeah.
Usually, if you do it often enough, you never need a hose. And it just makes car washing such a breeze.
Very little contamination on the sides, which is great. Don't forget to decontaminate your windows. Makes it much easier to see out of the car, makes it easier to clean. And once we've done 4 sections, we dunk our towel back in our wash bucket, swoosh it around a little bit. The flooding takes care of the contamination on the surface of the towel, bring it back ready to use, and then we're back to a 1 spray on the panel, 1 spray on the towel.
Does driving NV ceramic sealant in with the towel boost longevity or gloss by any chance?
A little bit. It's not going to take it from 4 months to 12 months, but it is going to add a little. And any sealant, whether it be NV, whether it be quick beads, whatever, durability is up to you. Meaning, how's the vehicle stored? How is it driven? Where is it driven? How much mileage is it driven? What kind of roads is it driven on? It's very hard to determine the longevity of a sealant, but the more you take care of it, the longer it's going to last. And NV is such a versatile product, you can use it after every wash.
It's not going to stack up and get clogged or anything on your coating?
No. So as a drying aid, it worked great. Of course, that is, if you use common sense and don't overuse the product. Some people, to them, 1 spray looks like that. That's not 1 spray. Ooh, a little contamination on the roof. Some people don't wash their roof as often as the rest of the vehicle, and I've never understood that.
Maybe if they can't see it, it doesn't bother them,
Could be.
What are your thoughts on the roof, Ivan? Keeping it clean, protecting it?
If you've seen cars with paint failure, it normally starts on the roof.
Yes, that's so true. I mean,
It's the area that's exposed the most to the sun. It's the one that's going to get rinsed off the less, because when it rains, if it's dirty, the water will just pool there. And your contaminants being exposed to the sun are definitely going to embed themselves a little deeper.
I'm going to keep up on my roof now. I normally would have dried by now, Ivan. Nobody wants to grab the ladder, but there are just times where that's the way to do the job.
If you own an SUV, get a ladder. If you can't reach the center of your roof, get a ladder.
Why?
Safety, ease of use, and since you have a ladder, you might do it more often.
What if you don't care about getting the interior of the vehicle dirty and stepping in on the plastic there?
You might care when you get the hospital bill because you fell out of the car. So I'm using the Drying Blanket Mini. You've got our twist loop towel.
Yes, sir.
They both do a great job. I like to go over it once just to finally spread the NV. The last chance, and then give it a couple seconds to air dry. Just buff it to a shine with the other side of the towel.
Why giving a couple seconds is so wise is you'll get a lot of the drying done without you having to do the buffing. How do you know what the sweet spot is in terms of wait time for that final pass with the towel?
Use your eyes, observe, and if you do it once and it's you waited too long, you're gonna work a little harder. If you didn't wait long enough, you're gonna work a little harder. It feels like you're moving liquid around, then you didn't wait long enough. And if it feels like you're dry buffing, then you might have waited a little too long.
On the windshield, I think I wiped too soon, but on the paint, it was perfect. So I guess different surfaces are going to react differently.
Yeah.
And how do you learn all this stuff, Ivan? By listening to the DIY Detail podcast, or
That's
just
one way.
or just detailing?
Well, practicing is definitely the best way.
Yeah.
Now, if you have 2 towels in your hands, that's great.
2 towels would be better, I totally agree. And that's why we now have 2 towels. 2 towels is nice, Ivan. It can be done with 1. Now, do I get enough NV on my towel that I'm sort of spreading NV on the wet towel here a little bit?
You are a little bit.
Oh, that's slick, huh?
It's very slick.
Wow. That's really slick.
So the decontamination, what it does for us is makes the paint slick by taking the contamination away. So now we're just dealing with nice smooth paint, and we've added Envy to it, making it even slicker, smoother, and protected.
What is adding Envy doing for the safety of our drying process?
Well, in this case, not much, because we had Rinseless on the surface, which is its own drying aid. So Rinseless does not require a drying aid. If you're using soap and water, you need a drying aid, because water is a solvent. And this is great maintenance, not only for a car like this, but if you have a coated car too.
I like this option because it's safe. You're not gonna have to polish after.
Yeah.
And even on a coated car, if you haven't washed it for a month, maybe you were out of town, life got really busy, you know it needs more than just a basic wash.
Yeah.
You might pull out the hose. But there's a chance that if the weather wasn't crazy, and you maybe had a couple rainstorms in that time, you might just be dealing with kind of dust still, because you coated the car. You can decontaminate, but it's not a lot of extra work.
No. If you're lucky enough to have a garage, this is something you can do in your garage without getting the garage soaked.
That's great for wintertime, isn't it?
Yeah. Now the Envy goes on all the plastics, everything else on the vehicle. Just look at the shine and gloss that we've got.
Just doing that first pass, spreading the Envy there left on the Rinseless wash surface. And I've got my dry twist loop towel. Buffing that to a shine, Ivan. Yeah, and I can see already some clear coat failure starting to happen on this paint, unfortunately. But it's on the roof.
Right. The biggest panel on the car, so the most expensive one to paint.
So is that one of the great travesties of car detailing, is people neglecting the roof?
Neglecting the roof, neglecting the wheels too.
And we're gonna get to that, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Okay.
If you look at these two towels, this one is still very dry, and this one, it's a little damp, but still have this side that I haven't touched with water yet. So a very small towel can do a lot of work.
So you're gonna get to the roof.
Yep.
What was your thought on doing the wheels?
Wheel and body brush, that's what it's for, Nick. I sprayed Rinseless on the wheels, so wheel and body brush, dry it off with Envy, and you're good to go. The other thing that the secondary towel does is it sets the Envy ceramic sealant.
So we had a Rinseless wash still on the surface of these wheels. We have our wheel and body brush now designated as the wheel brush. It served a nice life as the body brush, Ivan, and these brushes, man, they will last you a long time, won't they?
We've had these same brushes in our wash bucket here for 3 years.
Typically, I like to keep one designated for wheels, one for the body. I don't usually mix and match, but if you clean them out well, could a wheel and body brush that you've used on tires and the wheel then become a body brush later on in its life?
Yeah, 100%.
It's got to clean it out well, right?
Yep.
Not every wash has to be a deep dive, does it, Ivan?
No, not every wash needs to be a deep dive. And you know, a lot of people, their wheel barrels have never been cleaned in the whole life of the vehicle. Someone that goes through a car wash, their wheel barrels have never, ever been cleaned.
I'd be curious to know your method. I sprayed a few sprays of Envy on the wheel faces. I'm gonna dry them down, then apply tire lotion to the tires.
To the tires, and while you're there, Nick, do the lower body trim. So unfortunately, this vehicle, this trim, we've washed it. It still looks streaky because someone has washed it with maybe an acid or very caustic chemicals. And we have, unfortunately, some staining on the plastics.
So instead of trying to make the staining going away, temporarily covering it up, that's an okay auto detailing move?
What is the customer paying us for? They're asking for a wash, clay, and seal. That's what we're giving them. Now, if we wanted to do a full-on dive of plastic restoration, we could do that, but that's not the mandate that we got today.
So I used my Envy towel for both the rim faces. Now I'm gonna do some tire lotion on my tire shine brush. And because it's a water-based tire dressing, I don't mind it if it's a little wet on the tire. I used to be a purist, Ivan, and say, the tire's gotta be bone dry or I won't apply tire lotion.
For a solvent-based tire dressing, that is true.
This actually looks very shiny now. It will dry to a very, almost like high gloss matte. So it's not glossy, it's not matte. It's just above OEM. I don't know, how would you describe our tire lotion once it dries, Ivan?
A beautiful dark sheen.
But it's not too much for the anti-shiny tire crowd.
No, the anti-shiny tire crowd can actually live with it. And those of you that like the shinier tires, it's very simple. Let it dry a few minutes and then come back, put a second coat on. Now you can see what it does to this trim. This trim, like I said, we've cleaned it and it's still looking like this. So a spray on the trim. Brush it in. Now this trim looks much better because it's clean, but it's stained. And this will help hide that stain for a couple of weeks, actually.
You know, whether it's tire lotion on trim or wax on scratched paint, covering something up visually for a couple weeks is sometimes exactly what the doctor ordered. It's just a really nice way to beautify your paint temporarily. There's no shame in that.
No.
There are other products we have to beautify your trim or paint more permanently. Usually I can be a little sloppy around the trim with my tire lotion brush. Not a big deal. I'll put maybe a spray of Envy on my towel and I'll just touch up around the areas that I almost know that I overlapped around the trim. Oops, I went over there. Just flip the towel. Basically one spray of Envy, which you may or may not even need, but if I want to just kind of reactivate whatever's on the surface and just touch that up. Ideally you don't miss spots like this, but it's always good to do an insurance wipe right around all the trim. I just use my brush on. I'll just do a dry pass here. Just to make sure that when this gets into direct sunlight, nothing sloppy is left behind, Ivan.
And speaking of sloppy left behind, Nick may have used a little too much on his brush here.
Yep.
So if you just have the right amount on your brush, you don't need to go back over it.
Well, I'm never gonna be the guy who doesn't use enough product. You know that. So
yeah.
I could change, but yeah, I put a lot of tire lotion onto my brush typically.
I subscribe more to the put the right amount on so you don't have to go back over it again a second time.
And I already plan on going over it again a second time, so probably gives me permission to go a little too crazy.
The other nice thing about doing a rinseless wash like this, you really don't have any drips to contend with, other than the tire dressing drips here and there.
That was so easy, Ivan.
It was easy, it was quick, it was fun, and we have great results. All we did was wash, clay, and seal. It's simple, it's quick and easy, and we washed with a brush.
If you want to learn more about how to do more than a wash, clay, and seal, perhaps polishing your paint to remove defects and bring out that amazing shine,
Yeah,
where should they go, Ivan?
right here would be a good start.